Good evening, everybody. This is the Carver Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for the date of May 28th, 2024. We are in 2025, excuse me. I'm still a year behind. We are in room 1 at the Carver Town Hall. And as is our custom at the beginning of all of these meetings, we welcome Area 58. Thank you for being present. And we also move immediately to the adoption of minutes generated following our last meeting. Those minutes were of our meeting dated April 24, 2025. And so I ask if everybody has had an opportunity to review those draft minutes, which I circulated in advance of the meeting tonight.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a big deal or not, but at the top of the copy, it says April 25th, 2025.
I was just going to look it up.
Yeah.
What date should it be?
Hold on.
And then in the agenda, it says April 24th, 2025. So we have
It was April 24th.
Should have been the 24th, yes.
Okay, so
All right.
do I hear a motion to change the date from April 25 to April 24th on the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? So
Aye.
the meeting minutes are changed to the date of April 24 due to that little typo there. Any other changes, amendments, or modifications?
No.
No.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to accept.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So these meeting minutes now are adopted with that one change to correct the typo from April 25 to April 24. They now become part of the official record. We have a relatively short meeting planned for this evening. The single public hearing case, which is on the docket tonight, is case number 19-32-BR. The petitioner being Eric Perkins and Jennifer Garneau, requesting a special permit pursuant to sections 2253, 5221, 5300 to 5330 of the Carver zoning bylaw for property located at 155 Plymouth Street in Carver, which is at Assessor's Map 19, Lot 32-BR, so as to operate a light manufacturing print shop or office space in a residential agricultural district. Now, today, I received emails from the planning department. And the initial email was that the petitioner, Mr. Perkins, was seeking to withdraw. And then shortly before I left for a meeting out of town later on this afternoon, I received a follow-up email stating that Mr. Perkins wished to keep the case active and would be appearing this evening, but I don't see him this evening. Is anybody here to speak for Mr. Perkins or the other applicant, Jennifer Garneau?
I'm kind of here related to that.
Okay, well, why don't you tell us what your name is?
Do I sit here?
Just tell us what your name is.
My name's Tate McCall.
Tate.
Yep. Sorry.
Okay. And are you here to speak on behalf of either Mr. Perkins or Mr. Garneau, or Ms. Garneau?
Somewhat. I originally got the building, and then the new building inspector wouldn't leave it.
Okay, come on up.
I was just trying to figure out what to do with it, because I originally got it when they printed all the money to hedge my money. And then the old building inspector told me it would stay commercial as long as I leave my landscaping equipment there. So then I tried to sell it so I could go to Florida, so I wouldn't be here anymore. But then the new building inspector said it can't go back to commercial. So Mr. Perkins was going to try to buy it because I tried to sell it multiple times.
Do you still own it currently?
Yeah, yes, sir. So
Go ahead.
I tried to sell it multiple times, and then all the buyers would go to the town. One guy was like, "Oh, I want to turn it into the original fire station." I'm like, "No," and then they still charge me commercial taxes, even though I'm not allowed to have it commercial. So basically, I'm out 60 grand So this gentleman was trying to purchase it to get it zoned commercial again, so he can actually use it for something.
Right, and
So-
that is the story that he told us the last time. Tell me your name again, Tate what?
Tate McCall?
McCobb.
Yes, sir.
And what's your current address, Tate?
3 Windsong Road, Forestdale, Mass.
Okay,
I only have a P.O. box. So.
okay. So have you spoken to Mr. Perkins or Ms. Garneau since our last meeting of April 24th?
No, sir. I talked to my realtor, and she said he was going to come here tonight. So I figured I'd come and see if I could do something so I can get out of here, you know?
Okay.
Sick of Massachusetts, you know?
Well, I fear you will be getting out of here quicker than perhaps you anticipated this evening, because Mr. Perkins and Ms. Garneau are not present, even though I was notified, as I just said, this afternoon that they were planning on coming, after indicating earlier today that they were going to be withdrawing. So it's been sort of a flip-flop. Apologize for any inconvenience to you.
Well, I was just trying to figure out how to rebrand. I mean, it was originally sold to me by the town as a commercial building, and then the town was just like, oh, no, never mind, it's worthless, we'll take it back. So I was trying to figure out how to turn it back so I can recoup my money that I lost. You know?
Well, I have two suggestions for you, and perhaps these other nice people up here will have some additional suggestions. First, I think perhaps you should go and speak to the building commissioner.
I did. He told me to go get a lawyer, and I mean, the original building inspector told me I can just leave my stuff there, and it'll be commercial, and he showed up.
Which building inspector told you to get a lawyer?
We got it, the new one.
Yeah.
Rodman.
Rod.
He told me to go
Okay.
get a lawyer and sue.
You might also want to go to the assessing department. If you're still being taxed the commercial rate, and you believe that you should not be taxed at that rate, perhaps a conversation with them, letting them know a little bit about the history of this property would be useful for you.
Well, I'm more trying to get it commercial like it was sold to me so I can get my 60 grand extra back, you know?
I understand you're motivated to sell it, but we can't act tonight without a petitioner.
Well, I wasn't saying act tonight, I was just wondering how to go about that, because the building inspector told me he doesn't want to do that, even though he's new and he didn't exist when I bought it.
Okay, since you are the owner, what you would need to do is file a new application to us and make your pitch.
All right, because I read on some of the other things, it said if there's like grievous damage, I mean, 60 grand is like kind of a lot of money.
I would say it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta
I
go
would
with
definitely
lead
say it's a
for
lot
it,
of money.
yeah.
This is a difficult case, and I don't mean to monopolize the conversation with you, but when we sat on this case back on April 24th, we saw in the bylaws that an industrial use, which is what the petitioner, Mr. Perkins and Ms. Garneau, were suggesting, is not allowed in this zoning district.
Well, I see what you're saying. So under the classification, because I like read it could be like laundry or an inn or something.
Yeah, print shops are not allowed in the residential agricultural district.
So that was the issue. It wasn't that it wouldn't be able to go back to commercial. The issue was that was that specific type.
You know, I think that's a legal question that is best put to an attorney. I don't want to give you legal advice. I shouldn't be doing that.
What I'm saying is I have more chances of getting a commercial if I pick something that specifically fits the list. Is my idea.
We'd have to look that over.
All right.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, ma'am.
To get the background on the discussion that we had for your particular piece of property, you could go on to YouTube and look up our meeting of April 24th.
It's recorded?
It's recorded and it's available on YouTube. And then you can see the discussion that we had with the petitioners and kind of our thoughts on what they were asking for and why we didn't feel it was appropriate.
Yeah, see, I was just very emotional with it, so I kind of wanted someone else to do it, because the way I saw it was like, well, the government printed tons of money, now I can't go buy a house in Florida because it costs more. So I got that to protect myself, and I'm like, oh, the town government's just like, oh, we'll take the rest of your money and make it not commercial, you know? So this made me very emotional, so I didn't want to have any...
Yeah. Yep.
Well, thank you very much. You said file an appeal. with this board and watch the,
Yeah, I think
It's
the first
area-
thing you should do is watch the YouTube.
Look up Area 58 Carver, and then go to the zoning board, and then it's going to be the April 24th.
all right, well, hey, thank you all so much, and I'll go look, and then I file a zoning board appeal.
Yeah, go down to the planning department,
Planning.
the building commissioner, and he'll give you some more background.
The commissioner or the inspector? Because the inspector.
Well, it's the same
I'm not gonna
thing.
do that.
I think his formal title was building commissioner.
The
so.
Rodman?
Rod Palmer. Palmer, like Arnold Palmer?
There's
Rod
a
Palmer.
different- The other one was named Rodman, I believe.
I don't know any Rodman.
Yeah, I'm gonna mix it up.
Does anyone else up here have anything they'd like to say to this nice fellow?
No, I think
You've
we've
covered
covered. There's not, there's really nothing we can do at this point
Yep.
until it goes back through the process,
So
so.
file it under my name and my grievances and,
Yeah, go downstairs when you're ready, after you've looked at the video, and talk to these folks.
well, yeah, thank you all very much. You're a lot more
Okay.
helpful than the commissioner guy.
Okay.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, that's that from this nice fellow, but we have to decide what to do with this case, which is before us currently. Right, Ms. Dahl? What do you suggest? There's been flip-flopping today, as I said.
I have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the emails. Do both the emails come from the planning department? They both came from planning.
Yes.
And why would planning reach out to us for the petitioner?
Well, they had heard from the petitioner
Okay.
that he did not intend to go forward tonight, and then, yes, he did intend to go forward tonight. 2 separate emails, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Today.
So the morning one said withdrawal, and the
Yes.
afternoon one said,
Not so fast.
Correct. Correct.
What would we normally do if, well, I think I know what we'd normally do. If a petitioner missed a meeting and we had not had any correspondence?
What would we normally do, Ms. Dahl?
I mean, you could continue it one more meeting, pending hearing from them.
Ms. Cullum,
And then if it-
what do you think?
They don't come.
Well, I lean towards closing it, because what they are applying for, we cannot grant.
Well, we haven't gone to a vote on that yet. What do you think, Mr. Barrington? How should we handle this evening?
so their second email requested a continuance?
It didn't request a continuance, indicated that they wanted to be present tonight.
I don't have a major issue with continuing it one more time. And then if they don't show up or ask for another one, I think, because I remember a couple where we did 1 or 2 continuances.
Yes, we did,
Yep.
Just to give them a fair opportunity.
Yep.
to come.
And I think if we,
We had no
we give them one more,
Mr. Poirier?
I'm inclined to grant one more continuance, and then if we don't hear from them or they don't show, then that should be it.
Ms. Mello?
Agreed.
Back to Ms. Cullum.
I agree.
Okay. So do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue this hearing to our next date, which we don't have on the calendar yet,
But we will.
but we will.
Do I hear a second?
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
So this case will go over to our next meeting, and one way or the other, we'll hear from the petitioners. If I learn ahead of time that they wish to withdraw, as I thought they wished to do this morning, I will let everybody know, of course. But for now, this case remains active until our next meeting. Everybody good?
Yes.
yes.
All right, now that's our only case on for tonight, but I did want to address, because correspondence is next on our list, right? Yep. A lot of stuff happened late today. I received a copy of a letter from Mr. Palmer, who is our building commissioner, concerning the property located at 15 Pleasant Street. Now, if you all remember, we had this case before us on our April 24th meeting date, our last meeting date. Remember that, Mr. Barrington?
Yep.
Yes. So I circulated this letter, which I received again this afternoon, all this stuff inside of 24 hours. And this letter, according to Mr. Palmer, specifies a number of building code requirements at this location that have not been satisfied. These are, as I read it, primarily public safety issues having to do with fire and alarm systems, egress. These are not zoning issues per se, but still they bear on this case that we had before us the last time. So we had allowed the petitioner in that case to withdraw, as I recall. Is that true?
Yes. Yep.
And he had intended to file before the planning board.
Yep.
And I have forwarded not only our legal opinion letter to the town planner, but also this letter that I received late today to the town planner, so that if this matter comes before the planning board, they'll be fully advised as to developments which have recently come to our attention. I should say for the record that these building code issues, which Mr. Palmer labels as fundamental requirements, were not disclosed to us by the petitioner at the time that he came before us. Unless my memory is faulty on this, I don't think any of this stuff came up.
Nope.
So the planning board now has this case. If there's a filing, I observe that there is a member of the planning board in the audience. To your knowledge, why don't you come up, if you care to. I'll be easy. Can you identify yourself?
Yes, Cornelius Shea, 148 Plymouth Street, Carver.
I know who you are. Thank you.
Represent the planning board in any...
All right, well, you're a member of the planning
I am a
board.
member of the...
Not the chair currently.
Correct.
But you're here and you've listened to us, and I want to ask you a question. You may or may not know the answer to this. Are you aware that there has been some sort of application filed by this petitioner who is at 15 Pleasant Street asking for some sort of relief from you folks?
I will say that I am unaware of it, and I'm not entirely certain I should discuss any case that might...
And you're absolutely right. All I'm asking, this is an administrative question.
I'm not even sure which, what it's about that you're referring to.
No, he's asking for, or asked us for permission to have a second ADU at his property. There's already one that's permitted.
I can tell you that that would require a special permit through the plan.
And we know this, and so we gave him instructions. I am not asking for any of your opinions, and if I were sitting in your chair, I would tell you the same thing. No advisory opinions. So thank you for letting us know whether there's an active case before the planning board. That's all I was asking about.
Right, no, currently there's no active case. We do, on the agenda, put it out for a couple weeks ahead, and I don't recall seeing it, so.
Thank you.
No, thank you for your time.
You bet.
Thanks.
You bet.
This gentleman here.
I know. So that's a little bit of background on developments that happened very, very recently. And I ask all of you to keep copies of what was sent to you concerning this case, because we may see it again.
Okay.
As part of the communications this afternoon, I wish also to disclose to you that we were, we have no active case right now, right? It's been withdrawn,
Right.
but we may see it again. And I don't know if we will or not, but keep your papers.
Okay.
Any questions, comments from anybody?
Nope.
Was that disseminated to the committee or just
Which
from
committee?
Mr. Palmer?
You mean this board?
Yes, to our committee.
I disseminated it to all of you this afternoon. It's the
Okay.
first time I've seen it.
Okay, thank you.
This letter from Mr. Palmer is dated May 27th. And today is what, the 28th?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a
Yes.
day ago.
Yep.
All right. I will not make any further substantive comment about this case. As Mr. Shea said, this matter may come up before him as a member of the planning board, may come back before us as the zoning board of appeals. But this is just to give you background on a case that we heard extensively a month ago. Okay. Now, I observe in the back of the room a tardy gentleman and a tardy woman. Your case has already been called and heard.
We thought 7 o'clock, like Jill, that's why.
It's 6:30. Now, I don't believe there was anybody here in the audience that was present for your case earlier this evening. So I asked the board if they want to come back on this case now and hear what this gentleman might want to say at this point, now that he's here with the other petitioner. Or would you rather wait until the next hearing date? The action that we took was that we continued the case because we didn't see that you were here. Continue the case to our next hearing date, which we've not established yet. So I ask you folks what you would like to do here.
I think we should hear them.
Yeah.
Mr. Barrett.
It may save us for the next one by hearing it tonight.
Ms. Mello.
I'm fine with hearing it. They're the petitioners, they're here, we're still in session. I'm fine with it.
So what we're going to need to do is have a motion to withdraw the decision that we made to continue this case to our next hearing date.
So moved.
We have to take that back, right?
I make that
Mr. Poirier
motion to
has-
withdraw the decision that we made about
To continue.
to continue.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Come on down.
Ms. Garneau, would you like to appear up here with this gentleman?
Oh, boy.
Eric Perkins, prospective buyer of 155 Plymouth
Okay,
Street.
now let's go back for purposes of the record and identify this case.
So it's a residential agricultural zoned
This
property
is,
that lost its...
Case number 19-32-BR. This is Eric Perkins, who's now appearing before us, somewhat late, but nonetheless hearing. We're going to hear him. And this is for property located at 155 Plymouth Street.
Yep, correct.
Talk.
So, quick question before, because, I want to ask this one thing. So, the property, I understand, is how it's zoned for the residential because it lost its commercial use. Your bylaws have something to say about businesses that are essential. Your bylaws don't, like normal other state and federal bylaws, printing is a necessity. If there's, like something like COVID, we all work through it, and that would kind of allow this property to be used for that, because we do a lot of printing for hospitals.
So let me interrupt
municipalities.
just for a second,
Oh.
so we can get right to the
Sure. Yep.
center of this. Your argument is that we should ignore local zoning because this is a critical industry.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say?
No, I just figured I'd throw it out there, see if it sticks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Barrington is giving me the squinty eye here.
I don't know, I'd have to look into that deeper, but it's still zoned the way it's zoned. And we can't change that.
Well, and the zoning that's being requested is an industrial use, correct?
That's how it's labeled in our table, yes. Ms. Cullum?
If the bylaw allowed for a special permit, I feel like that's something that we could hear, but it specifically says no to a print shop
Ms. Dahl?
for the residential
Right,
agricultural
and
zone.
asking, since it's an essential it's technically an essential business in times of whatever happens because of hospitals, town ambulances, police, fire, we do all that kind of work. There's a loophole there to kind of segue into having that property be used for that.
Ms. Mello? She's giving me the look, too. We're getting looks from both sides to her.
I guess you'd have to make a real strong case of why you should be considered essential if even that loophole is there. And, you know, an ambulance service, maybe, if it was the only place we have one in town.
Well, no, the service is to keep those people with the things that they need. That's what we offer. You know, like,
You only sell to hospitals?
large portion of our jobs that we do are for the city of Brockton, social hospital, things like that. Steward Care that just recently went out, but that's where a good portion of our business lies.
You know, my wife says that I don't remember things as I used to, and maybe she's right. My kids point this out to me frequently. However, I remember distinctly that what you wanted to do in there for printing was for T-shirts.
T-shirts, you know.
So why are we getting into hospital stuff and ambulances?
It's the literature that they could print. I mean, we want to have the T-shirts, but it's also a printing, digital stuff. It's a copy machine. That's where the stuff comes out. But a lot of it that we do is, you know, for hospitals, and they also buy the other products from us. It's just not one product we sell.
Anybody else have any comments or questions of this nice fellow? Ms. Garneau, would you like to say anything? Members of the public, would they like to be heard? You can withdraw so we can bring up Mr. Shea again, because he needs to sit when he speaks, so that he
Okay.
can talk right into the microphone.
I withdraw.
Thank you. I mean, withdraw to another chair, not withdraw the case. All right, for the record, this is Mr. Shea again. Go.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I have the history of the property here. It was easily obtainable through the clerk of records, and the DBA expired on 2017 on January 9th.
Excuse me. I wasn't, what was that, what expired?
The doing business as, and
Okay.
the company went bankrupt a couple months after that on October 20th of 2017. The property was abandoned for several years before the town took it over, which I'd be happy to provide to the board if they're interested.
I think we heard all this history the last time, but you've obviously done your homework, and if you'd like to present this to the board as part of its file, I'd be happy to accept it.
Yes, sir. Who would I hand it to?
You may approach.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Sorry.
But my concern lies in that this is as well as residential and agricultural. It's also part of the Lakenham Historical District, and the building in question is the original North Carver Fire Department, which has some level of historical and significance to the area and the town itself. It's also a stop for multiple bus stops at the end of that road. They don't have a septic system. I think they use a chemical toilet currently. I don't know if they have water, but I know that Middleborough has prohibited new commercial hookups unless it has been approved through the North Carver Water Department, as well as the Middleborough Water Department. There's no setbacks for the residential properties on either side. It's down to inches, maybe a foot on one side and 2 feet on the other side. It was previously a feed store and pet food store, which had agricultural significance and added value to the agricultural nature of North Carver there, where there is still quite a bit of horses and agriculture and cranberries going on. But other than that, it's just really not a cottage business, and it's inappropriate. I think people have to have a level of security in what they can expect when they buy a property, but that's really my biggest concerns. I happen to live a couple houses down the street, and am very familiar with the property. And I do know it was sold as maybe commercial, maybe not. At the time it went up for auction by the town. But that's really all I wanted to say. I want to thank you for your time tonight.
Well, you said it very well, and thank you.
Thank you.
We had talked about abandonment, right? Who would like to speak to that? I think Ms. Mello, because she's familiar with this particular bylaw about abandonment.
Well, and I don't have my zoning book with me tonight, unfortunately, but I do think that we talked about it at the last meeting, where once a use, a non-zoned use, loses its grandfathering once the permitting process stops after 2 years. And this has been many years. I think the evidence Mr. Shea gave here, you said, Mr. Shea, 2017?
Yes, it's on the bottom of one of the papers. I believe it's January 17, 2017, maybe?
Yes, January 9th,
January.
2017. And so,
So it lost its status
as a commercial property,
on that date?
yes.
Okay.
And then,
Because last time I was confused, because it seemed like it had it and then lost it again. It was a little bit confusing for me now that I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Yeah.
It seemed like they lost it more recently than that, but that's,
the town
9
has
years, yeah.
owned it for quite a while. Now, unfortunately, when the town put it out for auction, they auctioned it off with the possibility of commercial.
And then you had 2 years to fill that.
Pardon me?
Then you had 2 years to fill that obligation.
But that has also expired.
Correct.
That has also expired. And I have to go, totally agree with Jennifer Cullum and her observation that a print shop is specifically not allowed in the residential agricultural district, which means to me that for whatever reason, it's not considered an essential service. Do you want to read the?
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that our bylaws are saying that a print shop is considered retail. And essential services, I know that that is an important term since we've had the world of COVID.
Sure.
But the bylaws are using essential services as things for utilities, gas,
Correct.
water.
That's what I read on-
so on
Yep.
and so forth, not
I don't
retail.
actually do retail sales. I don't have people walking up and shopping.
Right.
We are commercial sales, so we go out and sell to people. So retail sales slightly different, where I have a walk-up window, people come and they order things. That doesn't happen.
Right.
In regards to the septic and the water, I talked to Kevin, and we had a plan for the septic system.
Can I interrupt you just for a second?
Go ahead.
We're not done with the public comment section.
Okay.
And I will allow you to speak again. But Mr. Barrington, Mr. Poirier, Ms. Dahl, we haven't heard from you on this issue of abandonment and the classification of this business as it relates to the zoning tables. Does anybody want to be heard on that up here?
Well, I was just curious, where did you, Dan, where did you see that?
So on page 115, it gives the definition of what is essential services. And then on page 119, wait, 119. Where did it go? Oh, 119 has the print shop definition in our bylaws.
119.
And then on the zoning,
Go
on the,
ahead. Absolutely.
Let me see if we get the same page.
and then on page 5 of the use chart, commercial, print shop
On page
is
119.
a
I must have a different version.
no in the RA district.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
So did you hear what they were saying about
Oh, I agree.
essential services?
I understand.
Okay.
I'm not, like I said, I just came to ask a question.
Okay.
And then I was going to withdraw
And
mine.
it's
with no-
perfectly fine to ask questions. That's how we learn, right?
Correct.
Does anyone else in the public have anything that they'd like to say as to this particular case?
This is what Mr. Shea passed it.
Would you, sir?
Yeah, for
All right, if you could just scoot over there for a couple minutes and come on up.
Pleasant Street.
Come on up. Were you an airborne guy?
Yes, sir, all the way,
How many jumps?
18,
God bless you. You overseas?
Germany,
What years?
66 to 69.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. You're worth it.
Your name and address, please.
George S. Kohler, 15 Pleasant Street, Carver, Massachusetts, 02330-1012.
What would you like to say to us?
Okay, we'd like to know where we go from here. We've received a letter from Rod Palmer today, and as per your suggestion, we withdrew the application. My son-in-law went to the planning board, and after...
Who is your son-in-law?
Considerable discussion,
Who's your son-in-law?
David Baston.
Okay. Oh, you're talking about the other case now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about the other case.
Yes,
So we could circle back and hear from you
Okay.
once we're done with this one.
okay.
Promise. Thank you for your patience. I was a little confused there for a minute. As Mr. Poirier would say, doesn't take much, right?
I would never say that, Mr. Gould.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to be heard who's sitting in this room on this particular case? Okay, I don't see any hands or movement to the front. So this discussion now bounces back up to us. And if you could assume the position again, Mr. Berg, you're getting your exercise, you're getting your steps in.
to get my steps in today.
I have an important question for you.
Okay.
This property is currently under agreement with that nice fellow that we heard from earlier this evening. He's in
I
Florida, and his first name is Tate. You know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Is the property currently under agreement? In other words, is there a purchase and sale agreement for you to buy this property
There was,
from him?
yes. Yep.
What do you mean there was? Is it
I
expired?
backed out of the deal, and then because I had a conversation Friday with Rod, and then we'd read the bylaw books, and I just had one question before I back out of this part of it. I just want to ask one
Okay,
one
so
question.
are
Yes,
you...
there was a purchase and sale agreement.
Okay, and did you have a productive conversation with Rod? Maybe you didn't like to hear what he said, but...
I did. I've had many productive conversations with Rod, so they've all good.
Okay, good. And he's a nice fellow, and he's very knowledgeable.
Yep,
Don't always agree with him necessarily, but he knows his stuff.
yep.
So I'm gratified to hear that you're not out any money on this.
No, just $450. Like I said, I just came here to ask that one question, and if you guys had, that was that, I was going to back out of. without
And again,
contention.
your argument was that this was an essential
Business.
business,
Service.
which, for what this property is intended for, it does not appear to fit within that definition.
Okay.
But
I just got
I
to see you
speak
guys
only
again.
for myself.
I just got to see
As
you
you've
guys again,
heard,
so-
all of
Okay.
these people have their own opinions.
Everybody does.
That's right. So, folks, Mr. Barrington, do you have
I have
anything further?
nothing to add.
Mr. Poirier, do you have anything further? Ms. Dahl, do you have anything further? Ms. Cullum, do you have anything further? Ms. Mello?
Is that in there too?
I think you've heard from the tone of the conversation that this is a non-starter for us.
I get it.
So my question of you is this: do you want to compel us to go to a vote, or do you want to withdraw?
I'll withdraw, because like I said, I just came here to ask that one question truly tonight.
Okay. Well, it took us a long time to answer that question,
Well, it
huh?
also took me a long time to get here, too. I'm sorry about that.
Well, it's nice to see you both again.
You also? We'll be at the Cornerstones for a couple of beverages and pizzas if you'd like to come down after.
Only if you're paying.
Definitely, I got you covered.
All right. So, folks, motion to allow this gentleman to withdraw without prejudice.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
When we say without prejudice, what we mean is if lightning should strike and things in the zoning book get changed around,
I can come back.
you can come back. Any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
So you have been allowed to withdraw without prejudice.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a little bit of a win there.
No win. It's okay. I don't mind, though. I'm still in Carver. Yeah, my other business is still here.
Thank
so
you.
much for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
You don't want to talk? Nice.
Now, we have a gentleman who, I don't know whether you were here for the hearing that we had before this one. Were you? Yep. I wish you had made yourself known so we could have heard from you when we were speaking about this. But
Well, I tried, but...
I tried. Sorry, I tried.
So, using my discretion as the Chief Administrative Officer of this board, I want to invite you back up. And we will, how do we leave that first case? We decided that we were going to,
Well, it's already gone.
Yeah.
it's already gone.
gone.
What do you mean it's already gone? It's already left us.
It's left us.
Right, so
Yeah.
right now, I want you to understand this. We don't have any case before us with regard to your son-in-law. He's got some decisions he needs to make about this. And he's been notified by the building commissioner about some items that the building commissioner thinks are pretty serious that he will need to address, he being your son-in-law.
I don't
So,
understand,
okay, there,
reading that letter which you received,
yes.
he was stating,
Can I see the letter? Thank you.
And I just, again, I want to say for the record, we are not reopening this public hearing. As a courtesy, we're allowing you to speak.
thank you.
We will
Wait,
not, will not give you any direction or indicate that we have a decision that we need to make in any way, shape, manner, or form, because there's nothing before us right now.
Understood. The reason I'm here is to see how we can move forward. Do I have to reapply? Do letters have to be sent out again? Do I have to pay another fee? Or can we get on the docket for next month?
There's a lot of questions there. Let me try to answer them. This board does not and never has issued any advisory opinions. Now, some folks will go before other boards and say, look, this is what we're thinking about doing, this is what we'd like to do, and they sort of get a sense of the lay of the land. That's not what we do. We're an appellate board, and we do not entertain discussion about what people should be doing before a case is filed. Okay, so we're not going to give you direction on where you go from here, other than to say that if you want to be heard on this again, I would suggest that you go down to the planning department, speak to the building commissioner, speak to your son-in-law, and decide on an approach. To get back before us, something's going to have to be done.
Okay,
Because right now, we don't have a case.
understood. But we've been bouncing back and forth. We've talked with Jill, talked with Rod, and they said it was your discretion on, do we have to reapply, resubmit funds again to get back on a docket?
What I suggested to your son-in-law, and the rest of us too, when we were here
Unfortunately, he's
a
at
month
work.
ago, what I suggested is that he speak to folks here and then consider filing at the planning board,
If I
which
can
is why
answer
I
that-
asked
If I can answer that,
Mr. Shea whether he had a case pending.
he went to the planning board.
Who he?
My son-in-law,
Yes, sir.
David Baston, went to the planning board. After considerable discussions, he was referred to Rod Palmer. After that, Mr. Palmer came over to our residence,
Yes.
took pictures, and came up with his document.
Yes.
According to his analysis, this is a single-family home, according to this letter.
Okay, I'm not going to get into, unless
Well,
I'm
my
instructed to.
interpretation,
I'm not going to get
wait.
into an argument here
I'm
about,
not getting into an argument, I'm just looking for, where do I go from here?
okay.
To give you
I-
my journey,
All right.
my journey started 2 years ago, March of 2023. We sold our house in December of '23, closed February of '24, moved here on the 18th of February. Started our process, got a builder, got an architect, came to the town. Because of the square footage, we're denied. This has been going on since August of last year.
Okay.
And just to let you know, cost-wise, since I've moved, it's costing me $636.19 a month for storage. I've got a contractor ready to go. We've got, we want to update the septic system,
We know all these things.
so you know the whole thing. All I'm looking for is where do we go from here?
You have a
Oh.
copy of the letter from Mr. Palmer
Yes.
dated yesterday.
We got it today.
You start with this.
So we gotta go see Jill again?
Well, Jill's a very nice lady, and I work with her closely, but the one who authored this letter is Mr. Palmer.
Correct.
It seems to me a fair reading of this letter is that there are a number of what he would characterize as substandard conditions based upon the current edition of the building code, and that these need to be addressed. Okay? So if you're asking, and it's a fair question, where you go from here, because you feel as if you're kind of in the thicket, and you've gone from here to there, and you've been
We've been bouncing around.
bouncing around from pillar to post. I get it, and, you know, money is obviously evaporating more quickly than you thought it would because of the process. I believe that you need to satisfy Mr. Palmer's concerns based on this letter. Now, would everybody agree with that up here?
I would just defer to the fact that it said, to quote him, it says, "During my visit, I did not observe the following legal requirements necessary for the formation of a two-family dwelling regulated by the Mass Building Code." So I think that's his list of what you would need
Yes.
And
in
it's-
order
In
to
order to
comply
move
with
the
what you're
permit. Yep.
looking for. So I think with what Mr. Ray is saying, that, like, you have to start here with this before he's gonna consider that.
I was reading that as those are the conditions to have a two-family establishment, which with those considerations not being there, is considered a one-family home.
That is true.
Right now you have a one-family home with an ADU,
Right.
but you're seeking another ADU. And you want the first home to be classified now as a two-family with an ADU, which is why we're going back to the planning board.
No, it's the reverse. According to Rod's letter, he's stating it's a one-family home. Those are the
Well,
conditions,
what he's saying is, right now, what you have is a one-family home
correct.
with an ADU.
But if you,
No.
if you fix those things,
Right, then you could be, I think,
yep.
it seems like if those things are done, then you'd be considered for.
Then you have a path forward.
A two-family home, so, because you're adding extra dwellings, there's building code requirements when you start getting
Right.
into
The
the
building,
mass
the new addition will have all the requirements. What Rod is stating in that letter is that that doesn't meet the requirements for an ADU.
I want to ask you,
He's classifying,
where is your son-in-law tonight?
he's working.
Okay. I don't want to get, most respectfully, I don't want to get any deeper into this case. We don't have it in front of us anymore. This case is gone from our docket, and I'm hearing you as a courtesy. I think this letter is self-explanatory, and I think you need to get together with your son-in-law and address the issues that Mr. Palmer has identified, and he's identified them very specifically. As Ms. Dahl says, and she's sharp as a tack on this, if you address these issues to the satisfaction of Mr. Palmer, and these are building code issues, this is state law, okay? This is state law. So if you address these issues to the satisfaction of the building commissioner, I think you have a path forward. But beyond that, I don't want to say any more, because this is no longer a case which is before us, as I said 3 or 4 times. We're not in public hearing session. Again, I'm hearing you as a courtesy.
Okay.
Okay? So I guess we kind of gave you an answer, and that is to address this letter. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Mr. Barrington,
Yes.
I can't see your face because the hat is in the way there. Is there anything further you'd like to say?
Nope, I'm good.
Mr. Poirier?
I'm good.
Ms. Dahl? Thank you for your comments on these cases tonight, and Ms. Cullum, too, as always. Ms. Mello?
I'm good.
Nobody has anything further?
No.
I don't think there's anything further than to address at this point. We've talked about all our correspondences. I think we've heard from everybody who had an interest
Yep.
tonight. And so I'm prepared to hear a motion to adjourn.
Are there any new cases in the hopper here?
I have nothing to tell you about at this point,
Okay.
although there are things percolating. So I will
All right.
circulate some suggested dates. Mr. Poirier is correct to call me out on this, but I will circulate some dates if we have, you're right, if we have an active case that we will need to address. But there are things that are kind of bubbling.
So once you hear something, then you'll throw some dates out and,
Yeah, once,
can go through
as I've
that.
done before,
Yep.
in your case, because you are not too far from my office and residence, I will get up on the roof
Roll down
and
the window.
call you as loud as I can.
Jimmy?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, Carver.